Hi guys, welcome to the show. We got Michael Del Prete. He's a real estate investor based in Arizona. He contributes to the RIA out there. He's one of their educators. They have like 15 meetings a month, all different topics. Today's show is going to be really exciting because we're going to dive deep into wholesaling. We're going to dive deep into out-of-state or long-distance investing, which I do. And we're going to talk about, getting leads, finding leads, and all the work that goes into building a system to get these leads and so forth. So welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
So you've been in the real estate game for 12, 13 years.
Yes, sir.
I listened to your previous podcast, and you had a good story about how you got your first deal. You kind of went in all in, and you found some free YouTube videos, and you like educated yourself, and then within 45 days you made your first $5,000 assignment fee on a wholesale deal.
You got
it. Then you ran into a buddy who was doing wholesaling for a long time, and he said, bring me all your turn downs, and he ended up taking your turn downs and converting 4 or 5 deals.
Yes.
And that opened your eyes, and now you're all about real estate investing. And as I can imagine, you're doing a lot of deals. And you got involved right after the downturn, so that like Arizona real estate was dirt cheap back then, right? Everything got hammered. I was going to say get murdered, but I mean everything was down 50-60%. If we can go back, same thing like here in Vegas, it was just amazing the discounts, and it's like the problem then was I was in a good position, and I was just gotten my butt kicked in real estate because I've been in real estate for a while, so it was hard for me to get back on my feet to start acquiring real estate. So you started doing kind of wholesaling at a large level. It sounded like you built like a telemarketing company in another country. And do you still have that telemarketing company, or still dialing for dollars, or what's your lead generation system look like today?
So today, yes. So the call center had came into play just over the last 2 years. So that's more recent. So in regards to lead generating today, we have cold callers dialing out from Mexico here to the States in Phoenix and Cleveland, generating, just cold calling. We're pulling, targeted lists. We also have what we call penny leads, where we buy a large quantity of just cheap leads that are just like kind of like public data with like bad credit, just very, very little criteria associated with the leads. And we just have callers just calling all day, and it comes in from the VA to the sales rep here locally in Phoenix. They qualify the lead and set up the appointment, or whether it's in Phoenix or here. So yes, that's what we're doing now.
That's great. Is that kind of your number one kind of deal finding system is the calling system right now then, would you say?
I would say, yeah, number one is cold calling and bird dogs. Would
Cool.
be the best. Just building a team of people on the streets, just door knocking, motivating them to go out there, and offering incentives for them to bring leads to the table.
And so with these bird dogs, how do you set it up where you motivate them from a financial? Obviously, it's a commission-based thing. What do you think is a fair kind of system to offer these bird dogs? Any kind of advice there if people out there listening to this podcast or watching this say, oh, that makes sense, I can network and find people that are maybe motivated and want to make some money, and they're not afraid to go knocking doors?
Well, okay, there's probably about 3 different ways I'll cover that, right? So the first part is I just tell everybody what I do. That's just part of the business, right? As you can see, my hat, my shirt, like every back of my shirt says, have you ever considered getting involved in real estate investing? So I'm always breaking the ice with people. You never know who's out there. So you got like Uber drivers, people always talk about, just people that are just out in their daily lives. You never know whether you're at work, who your coworker is, or if you keep your ears open, what you're going to hear or what situation. So I always say, hey, I'll give you $500 to $1,000 if you bring that lead to me and I buy it. And I buy the house. So that's simple as that. If you just pass on a vacant address to me, it's going to be like $500. But the more work you do, if you get the homeowner's name, you do the research, you set up a conversation they want to sell, then you bring it to me, I'll go $1,000 to $3,000. Just depends on the deal and the situation. So I have that type of relationship with people, which isn't like the big. That's not what really brings the majority of the leads. So another aspect of that is I just created a little group here in Phoenix that we call the Deal Finders Club. So basically, I provide them with a wholesaling training course, about 14 weeks. And from that, so they get to follow that 14 weeks of wholesaling and generating leads and how to market, how to build your team. It's just full on wholesaling. And then every Thursday for 2 hours, I'll get on a Zoom call with you or with the whole group and educate them. And so they have to pay to be in that group. And what I'll do is when they bring the deal, the first deal, I pay them, you know, their whoever they paid to be in the group, I could give that money back to them. So that's just kind of like the first way to get started.
That's smart, and it's very useful for people that want to get their feet wet because now they're getting, that they're not spending a huge amount of money on all this coaching. They're really just getting like, hey, this
No,
is to be in this group. You got to put work in, and then once you put work in, you're going to get paid, and then you're going to learn something that's going to put food on your table for a lifetime.
yeah,
Yeah.
and you get 2 hour. It's I do it. When you mentioned Marcus, who was on the other interview. He's my partner on there, and you get both of us. You get over 20 years of investing experience, 2 hours every week, and it's super affordable. It's not some crazy, 10, 20, $30,000 program. So very affordable, and you get access to people, and we just want to do deals. We want to help people and do deals together. So it works out for everybody.
So mostly your business in Arizona still is wholesaling. Do you ever buy, fix and flip, or is it just
And
all wholesaling?
it is as you're in the business, you kind of have, especially being a wholesaler, you get exposed to so many different strategies, right? And you get to kind of hone into what you like and when a lead comes into the business, what do you want to do with it? So yes, there's since we do a lot of marketing, we're able to say, hey, is this a wholesale deal? Is it a flip or is it a hold, right? So that's kind of just as it comes in through the top of the funnel, we kind of look at it and see what the best play is.
You're listening to the Investor Financing Podcast. We'll be right back after this break.
Hello, Beau Eckstein here, host of the Investor Financing Podcast. Are you a lender, real estate professional, or vendor that provides products or services within the real estate investing and business owner space? We are offering a few sponsorship opportunities to get in front of a highly targeted audience. If you're interested, please click the link below for further information. We look forward to talking with you. Thanks. Make it a great day. And then when did you start going out of state to, you're in Cleveland, Ohio now. When did that happen?
Okay. Yeah, that happened about 2 years ago. So as you know, Phoenix, we've been on an upward trajectory for since the crash. It's only been up and up. So it was at a point probably 2 years ago when we were just like, people we're competing against people willing to do 3-4% cap rates, and it's just like, that's just not my cup of tea. So we had some friends out here that were investing in Cleveland, kind of saw what they were doing, saw the type of deals and projects they were doing. So started looking into the Midwest, knowing we were going out there not for flips or equity or appreciation. We knew it was just all about the cash flow because, I learned that from being a wholesaler after chasing your deal after deal. That's, you're always chasing it's a job. So we wanted to build that cash flow and do it a little bit faster. So we chose Cleveland. Just we can go down that road of why and how, but so we went to Cleveland about 2 years ago. But I took the idea of I'm not there. I don't want to go there every couple days or weeks or months or whatever it is. So you need to build a team. So I said, how about I start wholesaling, take our marketing resources and shift it to Cleveland and start wholesaling. This way here, I get to build those relationships, just like how I got started in the business, right? You're meeting fix and flippers, you're meeting landlords, you're meeting contractors, property managers, wholesalers. And then every time you meet someone, hey, do you know this person? Who do you refer? Can you refer me to this? Can you refer me to that? So I just started getting referrals throughout that whole time and ultimately figuring out yes, I had to go through some trial and error and some ups and downs with people. But that's how I wholesaled. I met up, actually, the best way it worked is linked up with another wholesaler, which was my boots on the ground in Cleveland, cut a deal with him. I'll bring the leads and the deals. You sell them. So I didn't have to go out there and build a buyer's list. But and I was the reason I wanted to do that because I could leverage his knowledge of the market because from street to street, neighborhood to neighborhood, things change. Just because like I'm in a zip code 44120. I mean, the north part of it, it's like luxury. Go a couple miles south, you're in the hood. So it's like I was able to see why, or price the properties right for wholesaling and get to understand these pockets and neighborhoods because of that wholesaler. And I just split the deal with them. So the first year, I did about 25 deals with him, just wholesaling, and I built my team. I got my property manager, my contractor, met other wholesalers, met the right title companies, all through him by just working the wholesale deal. So we traded value, so then at that point I just decided at one point I started to start keeping the deals as they came in.
Yeah, that's good. And what do you like about Cleveland? I sometimes check out different markets, and I'm just curious. Well, I know you kind of had a relationship, and some of your friends were already buying there, but as you dove into the market, it looks like there's a lot of job growth in the Cleveland market.
Yeah, man, they have. What I liked about it is they have all the sports teams. They have 5 Fortune 500 headquarters there. So they have they transitioned to a big healthcare, the Cleveland clinics out there. So they have, I would say it's like steady, or not really steady or losing population, just kind of mellow, but they got a strong base. So those were like the main reasons that I went out there, and I chose, and I knew some people out there already, so I felt like I always had someone to lean on if needed. But yeah, man, I've only been out there once. Like I said, we did 25 wholesale deals and we own 10 houses. So yeah, that's my Cleveland.
What kind of acquisition price were you seeing? I mean, they've gone up a bit, but
yeah. So I'm all, our properties were all in, 75,000 acquisition, renovation, and then we're doing the BRRRR. So we've been doing the BRRRR. Then some of these houses, a lot of these loans, as you probably know, you got to be at 100K or higher. So if you don't have the right products, you got to package houses together. So I was doing my first package of 3 houses about 2 weeks ago, and then we were at 5.5% DSCR loan, and went from 5.5 to 8.8, went from 30 AM, 20 AM, and went from 75 LTV down to 60. So I was like, shoot, man, things are changing. So it kind of messed that little.
Yeah, the DSCR loans. I don't know who you're working with, but you should still have been in like the high 6s on a 30-year
That's what
fix.
I feel. I'm shopping around.
Yeah. I'll give you somebody to call after if you want.
Let's do it.
Because I just refinanced 3 of my little properties, and
Okay.
But yeah, you could. DSCR loans are all based on credit score and LTV. Cash out, you get hit. But right now the rate should be on a deals like that where you're packaging 3. You should be 6.25 to 6.75 tops, in that range. So on a 30-year, it's got a 5-year declining prepayment penalty, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
That's fine. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, there's options for that. But yeah, this is important, guys and girls that are listening, is that it's good to buy these cheaper houses that have huge cash flow, but you got to know your exit. And so, when I go to buy these houses, oftentimes years ago when the market wasn't as crazy, I was able to buy these really fixer-uppers for like $20,000, $25,000, $30,000, but I'd be putting like 40 grand of work in. But I knew they would appraise at 80,000 and above, and usually if you can package 3 together, they want the value to be at least like 50,000 per property. So preferably like 75 per property is the what it's going to appraise for. But you can package them up and do 3 at a time with one loan, and that's just what Mike was talking about, because that's important. So like when I go in, I would use other people's money as the bank, and then I would refinance them out with a DSCR loan. And
Awesome.
that's how you do it. People always go, "How do you get 100% financing?" It's easy. Just you build a list of people that want to make a return on their money. You pay them 8, 10%, and they become Bank of America for you. And then tell them, "Hey, let me season this. Can we do a 2-year term, and then I'll refinance you out?" And that's what I do. I think that's the easiest way of doing these smaller deals.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do like out of state, and I think like it's kind of predictable. I mean, it's predictable income. Depending on if you're rehabbing the properties, then I mean the big things that I've gotten burned on are like the mechanicals and the roofs, because it's you get snow in the Midwest and you get cold weather, and the housing stock is older. But yeah, I mean those markets are appreciating, not like the Phoenix markets of the world, but they are appreciating. A lot of the houses that I bought
Yeah.
cheap are now worth like double, triple what I paid for them. So I totally agree that it's a phenomenal strategy, and you're using your same marketing systems there, and which enables you to wholesale. And now you're like, oh, well, let's keep some because there's no sense in making transactional income all the time. Let's get some write-offs. Let's get some equity or
Yes,
some
sir.
rent, and some cash flow. And then it gave you time to build your property management team there. So you found a good property manager, because that's like the hardest thing I find is finding reputable property managers.
It is. You know, like because you got some that it's a business. Obviously, it's always a business, but some that's like they charge you their percentage per month, but it's also there's always something wrong. They're always upcharging and padding, the supplies and the charge to go out there and all that stuff. So I found the healthy balance with it took about two different property managers to kind of work with and get to know a little bit. But after a few months, I finally got a company that we work well together. So it's definitely your property manager and your contractor are going to be, and having a boots on the ground is whether it's friend, family, hire somebody. I think a boots on the ground property manager and a contractor are your key members.
So what's your, like, now that we've seen kind of a big change in the market where, who would have thought we would have been on this run since 2009, essentially. As soon as this, we started rebounding in 2009, 10, 11, we're still rebounding 12. Now it's just been 10 years of just pure kind of uptick. And real estate investing is everybody wants to be a real estate investor right now. So it has it has its challenges, but what's amazing is there's still a lot of deals out there. So is there anything that you're doing differently today that you weren't doing like when you got started, because it's a little bit harder to find deals?
Anything different, you know? Well, like I had to adapt, right? So me starting from years ago, like when we started, it was direct mail, right? And then you got a lead, they called you and you went to the house, you sat at the kitchen table and you touched the house and you did a deal. But as like before I got into the call center world, things started changing. Like skip tracing started coming in play, cold calling on dialers came into play. So that changed. Texting came in, ringless voicemail came in, like all these resources through technology. So that I would say few years ago, that's when I hit a point. It was like, wow, I have to change how I do this. But they all work. Everything works. Nothing doesn't, right? So it's like what I've learned from the sales process or even the marketing, it's the consistency. You're always marketing. Marketing is a lifeline of your business. So what you always have to be putting your message out there or getting leads coming in somehow. So I would say one thing that changed from the beginning is understanding it always needed to be turned on, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. Because as a wholesaler, I remember bust your butt, finally get a motivated seller. It's all your life is about is finding a deal. You get the deal, and now you're like, okay, I got to assign this thing, and all you're doing is looking for buyers, 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 and what's going on over there? There's no sellers. You're not doing any marketing. So then you finally close the deal, turn back around, you start from scratch. All right, I got to find a deal again. So I've learned, like from the beginning to that point, is adapt with technology, adapt with what's going on, pay attention to what's going out there, and be consistent in your marketing.
Is more of your marketing efforts now going into Ohio, or are you still kind of focused more in Arizona, dollar wise, where you're spending your marketing dollar?
I would say spending marketing dollars mainly in Cleveland, and where we do marketing here, but a lot of that it gets accomplished for me through the relationships through Ezria and the Deal Finders Club as well. So like that, being in these communities allow me to do, and being an expert in my field allows me to build relationships and work with people on deals.
Can you talk a little bit about your RIA and like, where people can find more information and kind of the events you do on a monthly basis?
Yeah, of course, man. Thanks for asking. It's the Arizona Real Estate Investors Association. We're licensed RIA with National RIA. We've been in Phoenix and throughout the state of Arizona. We represent the whole state and all the real estate investors out here since 2002. So we have, our website's azreia.org. You can learn more about us there. We have about anywhere from 5 to 15 events a month. From smaller targeted subgroups like meetings, like fix and flip meetings, landlord meetings, raising money meetings. So we have different types of meetings all throughout the month. We have our big meeting that's on the second Monday of the month, where we have a trade show. All our vendors, like attorneys, title companies, IRA companies, agents, property management companies, everyone has like a trade show. We have education, presenters, networking. So yeah, we're here to support, inform, and educate real estate investors throughout their journey in real estate.
That's cool.
So,
Yeah, you guys are very active. You have a lot of events going on. That's cool.
Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Yeah. So if you're in Arizona, you're in Phoenix, Tucson, Prescott, swing on by, man.
Yeah, that's awesome. I want to own some real estate in Arizona. I don't own any real estate, and been kind of looking at all the different markets. Arizona's got so many cities I didn't even realize. It's pretty cool. Like, and it's just growing. I was just watching like a news channel on the Phoenix market. I think I didn't realize you guys were like that huge in the autonomous car industry, like electric car, semiconductors. You guys, Arizona's poised to be just like the new tech hub, I think.
It is. We are getting, like, think about it. We have Intel is based here. They just announced their within the last year they have a huge facility in Chandler. I think they're putting $30 billion into that facility to grow it. And they said the majority of the employees that are going to be migrating here are from San Francisco. So it's going to be an executive level type job opening. Then their competitor from Taiwan is is already building a chip company here in the Northwest Valley of Phoenix. And then the semiconductor companies you're talking about are south of Phoenix, Casa Grande, Eloy, smaller cities, like maybe 50,000 population or less. So there's a lot of growth and opportunity out there to get into housing, multi-housing land. They're operating, I think it's Lucid Motors is one of them. But yeah, Phoenix, the Maricopa County is getting 290 people a day moving here.
Where's Buckeye?
Buckeye, that's West Phoenix, and that's the second fastest growing city in the nation. So, and there's it's actually next to Tonopah, which is where Bill Gates bought like 90,000 acres, and he's gonna build like a tech city sometime down the road. So, there's a lot going out here, and it just boils down to supply and demand. Like the demand is just above normal here in Phoenix, but there's no supply. We've underbuilt, just like a lot of parts around the country, for the last 10 years. So we're easily 8-10 years behind on housing supply already, not to count the 290 people moving here. So there's just that issue of how affordable housing and supply.
I know a couple of my friends have short-term rentals in like downtown Scottsdale, where you can where they can walk to Old Town, and they absolutely crush it on their their short-term rentals.
Scottsdale's a hot market here in town. A lot of short-term rentals, and they just. I'm curious to see where that business goes in regards to restrictions. It's totally legal out here in Arizona. However, when you get in certain communities or HOAs, there are restrictions. I think the city of Scottsdale or Paradise Valley, I think it was, or both, you have to have an assigned person to that property that's responsible for answering the phone. So if a neighbor complains to the city, someone has to respond to that complaint within an hour. You get a $500 fine. So there's starting to be like little things like that you notice. And that's what we do here at AZREIA, right? We're heavily involved in government affairs. Our attorneys, we're very in tune to as what's coming down the pipeline, legally. So we like to inform our members as to what's coming on, so you can just always make the right adjustments and decisions within your business.
That's very cool. Well, I appreciate your time today. We could talk for hours about it.
Yeah, I know.
Investing stuff. I like to keep it short and sweet, but I think you provided a ton of value on your business and people. If you're interested, go to the azreia.org and you can plug in some of those events maybe online, where if you're not close, you might be able to be a part of those. And then you're planning some like live events that people can go to as well if you're in the remote. I'm not too far, right? I'm only 5-hour drive, I think, from Las Vegas. So maybe I'll come to
3 hours, even less.
Oh yeah, it's like 4. I think it's 4. I can't remember. I drove it a few times. It's just whatever. I don't mind driving, so I always want an excuse to do a little traveling. Where's the best place? Do you want them to go to your RIA website? Is it the best place to send people?
Yeah, asria.org, right? We're on all, social media, Arizona_RIA for Instagram. I'm Michael Del Prete. My Instagram is Michael Del Prete, michaeldelprete.com. So I'm out there. Just Google us.
All right. Well, I'll have to keep on following you on your Ohio deals. Maybe that's the state I need to get into next because I love the Midwest as well. So
awesome. Anything you need, just reach out. Let me know, man.
All right. See, that's how it's done, people. We're networking right now.
Yep.
And now I know I can get some good referrals and maybe get some deal flow because he's got some wholesale deals. So,
well, since you're bringing that up, I have 2 properties under contract in Bullhead City, which is right next to Laughlin on the border of Arizona.
Yeah, it's so
and Nevada.
It's funny you said that. It's funny you said that. I was like, Bullhead. I want to get something in Lake Havasu, but because it's like, but Bullhead City would be a place. I would take a look. I was just looking at deals right there, so I'd be interested.
All right, let's talk about it after this.
All right, there you go, guys. All right, we'll see you on the next episode.